Hello there, everybody, and this is Mr. John bringing you fellow Latias and Dragonite fans, however many there are, fan club, the seventh part of my written story. And it is, there we go. It is called Lost in a Sea of Loneliness. There we go. I probably should have done this ahead of time, but once again, I always forget. I'm too lazy. I don't know. Well, whatever. So, once again, give a quick thanks to Mr. High Dragon, because that's the only way I can get this up. And that's all I have to say for now. Let's just dive right into it. This part shouldn't be as long as the last one, but it still is pretty long, as you can tell by the timer. So thank you for reading into it. Part 7, Lost in a Sea of Loneliness. I was determined to the max. All I could think about on the way to Great Brook Farm was me asking Dialga to change my life back to the way I wanted it. However, I was completely oblivious to the fact that getting what I wanted was very scarce. I did not see the reasons of how this could not be done. There are many reasons. First of all, Dialga probably isn't even at Great Brook Farms anymore. He's most likely back at his original place to stay. Next, Dialga probably can't change my life back to the way it was, even though I assumed he could. And if he really couldn't, then I thought about going back in time again. Although, there was one quote that proved this option was unavailable too. There is no way that I'm going to send you back in time anymore, so do not ask me again. Yep, right there. That's basically all the proof that I needed to tell me that getting my old life back isn't going to happen. But even with that proof, I shot for the goal anyway. My eagerness was just that high. Poor Pidgeot was out of breath when we got to Great Brook Farms. He dropped me off at the wrong field, but that was okay with me. Both of us just started to walk down the trails towards the right field. Hey Pidgeot, feel like you can take a ride on my back if you want. No thanks, Mike. That really isn't necessary. We walked the rest of the way to the field where I was knocked out. Over to my right was the forest bit where Dialga was the last time. I stared at that part of the forest for a little bit. Pidgeot looks at me, and then to where I'm staring at. Hey, what are you looking at? In that forest over there. That's where Dialga should be. Huh? Dialga lives over in that forest? Well, no. He doesn't live there, but he has been staying there for a few days. I wonder why. Well, I don't know. I'm not just gonna sit here. I'm going into that forest and asking Dialga to change my life back to when it was good. Wow, you just aren't afraid of confronting the legendary Pokemon face to face, are you? Nope. I've even seen Dialga before at that spot. I know how he is, but honestly not much. When was this? You never told me you met Dialga before. Was he on the LSRT too? No, he isn't. I met him when you and Lightnoon went to get my red dagger at my house. I came out of the forest just as you and Lightnoon returned. Oh, I see. It turned out that it was Dialga who sent me back in time. I figured that out when I met him. I'm hoping that maybe he'll find a way to fix what I messed up. Oh, okay then. I'm coming with you. Sorry, Pidgeot. I need to confront Dialga alone. I must return you. Oh, I'm not so sure about this. We have faced two legends together. I really think that we should stick together for the third. I must go alone. If I don't, then Dialga might get the wrong message. I'm sorry, Pidgeot. Well, okay. But if he attacks you, then send me out, okay? Alright, I promise. I'll then take out Pidgeot's Pokeball and return him. I look at the forest once more. Then I took a deep breath and walked cautiously into the forest. As soon as I entered the woods, my heart began to race. I was about to confront the being of all things temporal for the second time. I did get somewhat deep in the area of woods, but I did not see any large blue-looking trees like I did the last time. At first I thought I didn't enter the forest in the same exact spot as before, but then I realized that I hung my head down that time before. And when you do that, you don't exactly know where you're going. Sorry about that. I began to lose hope after several minutes. I thought I looked in the spot that I saw him the last time, but he wasn't there. I took one last look around the area. I noticed to my right there was a bluish figure in the distance. I recognized the figure immediately, and I ran towards it. I found Dialga. I was so excited. Once again, however, his back was turned to me. All I could see from where I was standing was his hind legs and his tail. It's probably not a good idea to be standing this close to him, but... Dialga, I found you. Dialga does not look at me, but he does respond. I see you have returned. Yes, Dialga, I did. I'm surprised you're still here. Don't you live in a place called Temple Tower? Ah, that I do. That is my place of stay. However, but ever since I came to this spot, I felt happy. It was very quiet and peaceful. It was soothing, really. I can think to myself without any interruptions. And I'm glad you feel relaxed. Thanks. Say, have you gone to go on that journey that you wanted to do? Yes, I did. And how did that go? Well, not so good. Just like everything in this new life. What do you mean? Well, after I knew that my life was changed to this one, it's been getting worse. Everything I know about my old life is now completely screwed up or not existed in this life. Bad things keep happening to me. Yes, you told me that your life was changed last time you came here. So, it has only gotten worse since you last spoke to me. Yes, I don't like it. Not at all. What about your friends you wanted to see? Have you not straightened things out with them? Well, no, I guess you could say. Something happened to Latias and Latios, but I really don't want to talk about it. Latias and Latios? Yeah. Why do you sound so surprised? You told me that you saw them at Alto Mare using your telepathic abilities. Yes, of course I did see them there. It's just that I'm surprised that someone like you would know about them. Sure. Listen, Dialga, I need your help. I know that you don't want to do it, but I need you to send me back in time again. I have to fix things for the better. Didn't I tell you not to ask me that again? Yes, you did, but you know how I get when the beings take my temporal powers for granted. I specifically told you, you have 3 days to change your past. After that, no more. What? You never told me that. You just knocked me out and sent me back in time. That's a lie. I definitely told you that warning before I sent you, and you agreed to it. I never even saw you when you sent me. I didn't even know you were here until I returned to the present day. Lies. I've had enough of your false statements. If I were you, I would leave these woods immediately. Dialga, listen, I'm telling the truth. I never saw you before in my life before I went back in time. I swear. Please, Dialga, believe me. I will not, because I know you are lying. You leave me no choice but to force you out of these woods myself. Oh. I stood there in shock. I was frozen in fright. I had no idea what Dialga was going to do to me. What scared me even more was that he started to turn around. Soon he was facing me. He then put his head right in front of mine and gave a loud roar. I jumped to my knees, bent over on the ground, and put my hands on my head for cover. I felt as if I was going to be blasted. I probably should have said Pidgeot out, but I was just too scared to even think. Wait a minute. Where is Lucario? What? Lucario? Dialga sees me on the ground and bends over to put his head near me. He looks at me with a puzzled sort of look. You're not Lucario. Dialga then lifts his head up and starts to look around. I shouldn't be a Lucario. I'm a human, not a Pokemon. I get the courage to get up and stand on my feet. Dialga bends his head down to me again. How long have you been here, human? Ugh, wait, what am I thinking? This human can't understand me. Well, as strange as it sounds, Dialga, I can understand you. This amulet I have here allows me to do that. Unbelievable. And to answer your question, I've been here talking to you this whole time. You? I don't remember seeing you in my entire life. Well, I think it's because you had your back turned to me the whole time we talked. I was the one, too, who was leaning on your leg by accident. I'm sorry, human. Well, you and that Lucario that I aided have very similar voices. Really? I always thought that Lucario have deep-sounding voices. You're right, they do. But this Lucario used telepathy to talk to me, as strange as it is. And his telepathic voice sounds similar to your real voice. Oh, I never would have guessed that. Wait, you told me that you've been sent back in time. How could you have done that? I thought it was you who sent me, but I guess all this time you were talking about that Lucario. Let me get a good look at you. Dialga then stares at me for a brief moment. I got a little disturbed from him doing that. May I ask what for? Well, using my time-controlling abilities, I can see anything that has happened in the past, or anything that is going to happen in the future. I will use these abilities to see all the things that have happened to you in your lifetime up to this very moment. Wow, that is sure one amazing ability. That it is. Now please wait a moment while I observe your past. Dialga then closes his eyes. He looks as if he was meditating. He stood there with that look for over 5 minutes before he spoke again to me. Oh, I see what has happened now. You do? Yes. As it appears, you were near these woods at the same time that I sent Lucario back in time. You were too near, actually, because when I used my Roar of Time, it took effect on you. Oh, well, at least I now officially know that it was you and not something else. I apologize to you. You were not supposed to go back in time at all. It was completely a mistake. Oh, well, that's okay, Dialga. Well, really, it's not okay. I took a look at the life you had before you were sent back in time and compared it to your life after. Whoa, you could do that? Yes. I now know why you said your new life has gone all wrong, because you weren't supposed to change anything in the past. This was my fault, really. Even though Lucario had told me that this area of woods was safe, I should have double-checked before using my temporal powers. I am truly sorry. Oh. Well, what else can I say? I mean, mistakes happen. So, human, you are that human who made up that Pokemon protection team, the LSRT. You know of that? And about me? I have heard about you and your team before, yes, but like I said, I've never actually seen you before. You are a good human the way I see it. You've helped a lot of Pokemon in your time. Mike is your name, am I correct? Yes, you are, Dialga. My name is Mike. Now, I don't normally do this, but in your case, I'll make an exception. To help you obtain your old life back and bring back the LSRT, I will allow you to go back in time once more to fix things. My heart started to race from hearing those words. I suddenly could feel hope rush inside me, too. Really? You'll let me? Yes, Mike. A lot of legendary Pokemon trust you, it seems. So I can put my trust in you, too. Wow. Thanks, Dialga. That means so much to me. However, I'm not going to make the same mistake twice. I am not using my Roar of Time to send you back in time. Instead, I have a different way. Oh, what way is that? Please wait a moment. Dialga then closes his eyes again. Soon a bright light then appeared between us. As the light died down, I could see a floating hourglass replacing it. I looked at the hourglass with curiosity. Ooh, what is that? This is a time travel hourglass. I have brought it from Temporal Tower. This will allow you to go to any location at any part of time. Wow, that's amazing. Did you make this? Indeed I have. Now before I let you take it, I should tell you how it functions. Alright. Now, first, you shall clear your mind and relax. Then, while holding the hourglass, you think of the time and place that you want to go to. Once you do, flip the hourglass over, and then you will head towards your destination. Now, when you say think of a time and place, do you mean like words or pictures? Either way will work fine. However, thinking of a picture might be easier to do for the place. Okay, I got it. I think I know exactly how to use it now. Good. You may take it. I reach towards the floating time travel hourglass and grab it. I hold it in front of me and look at it, and then I look back up at Dialga. Hey Dialga, how come we didn't let that Lucario use the hourglass? Well, that's because I didn't trust him with it. With the hourglass, you can travel through time as much as you want. I couldn't trust him with that ability. Honestly, I didn't really trust him much for going in the past for those 3 days. The only reason why I let him is because he gave me a very large explanation of how he wanted his trainer back alive. I agreed that his friend's passing was tragic, and I noticed that the future wouldn't be altered much if I were to have him alive. So I let him travel to the past to those 3 days. In addition, if the hour story wasn't enough, he gave me money. It was 10 million Poke to be exact. Not like I needed it, but I honestly find that it wasn't necessary at all. At least I noticed that the changes benefits those he loved. 10 million Poke? Wow, that is a lot of money. He really must have needed to go to the past that bad for him. Yes, he did. He wanted to do anything to get his friend back, including ask help from me. Oh, well, that's pretty interesting. Now that I think about it, I should probably pay for you too for letting me do this. Although, I don't have 10 million Poke on me. In fact, I don't have anything on me. Don't worry about it. You don't have to pay me anything. Really? Are you sure? I thought I thought you didn't like it when others changed the past, though. Not if I approve of it. I trust you with this. As long as you don't abuse the ability to travel through time, I will be fine with it. Okay. I really have to say thank you again for letting me do this, Dialga. You're welcome, Mike. I wanted to shake hands with Dialga, but I noticed that his paws were very large. I decided to do it anyway and held out my hand. Dialga looked at it for a moment and then stuck out his right front paw. I couldn't really grab the whole paw, so I took a hold of his middle claw instead. The handshake was a success. Okay, I'm ready to go. Honestly, I want to use the hourglass in the field over there. I know that I'll get too nervous and mess up if I use it near you. No offense to you. None taken at all. Excuse me. I start to walk towards the field. After a few short steps, I turn around and face Dialga. Goodbye, Dialga, and thank you once more. Goodbye, Mike, and good luck to you. I then turn back around and head towards the field once more. As I was walking, I heard Dialga's voice behind me. Oh, Mike! I remind you to be very careful with that hourglass. Make sure that you don't think of any stray thoughts. If you do, you might not go to the right destination. No worries, Dialga. I can do this. No problem. I kept walking towards the field with no hesitations. Well, except for one. I thought for a brief moment that I was being followed, because I thought I heard a light voice. I then turned around to look behind me, though no one was there. All there was were trees and bushes. Surprising there were no wild Pokemon in sight. It did seem odd for this forest to be that way, but I didn't have time for the patience to think about the answer to that. I just ignored whatever the sound was and continued towards the field. I eventually made it out of the forest and into the field. I stopped and looked down at the hourglass in my hands. Just looking at it made my thoughts race. I could go anywhere in the world at any time period. But of course, I wouldn't just pick any place in time. I'm going back into the time in the garden where I left to return to the future. There, I could try to have the Latias come home with me. Sure, I know that I tried once in the new life and it didn't work. But things will be a lot different when I return to the past. You'll see. I was about to start to use the hourglass, but a certain feeling I felt stopped me. Something wasn't quite right, it seemed. I tried to think of what it was, but I couldn't really figure it out. I thought of many different things that could trigger the feelings one more. The trigger went off when I started to think about lightning. I reached into my hand in my left pocket and took out Pidgeot and Lanute's Pokeballs. Realizing what I thought should be done, I sent them both out. However, after I did, their Pokeballs became completely dysfunctional because of the specific way I sent them both out. Both of them looked at me with concern. Lanute didn't really have a clue what was going on, though. Hey, Mike, how did it go with Dialga? Huh? What exactly is it about Dialga? I went and talked to Dialga about me going back in the past to fix things. Oh, so you're going back in time again. So you go back in time again is how you're going to get your own life back? Yes, Lanute. So I take it he said no? Actually, he said yes. Turns out that he knows about the LSRT and wants it back too. Also, the last time he sent me back in time was an accident. He told me that I should have never changed anything in the past. Oh, I see. So if he said yes, then how are you going to go back in time? I hold out the hourglass to show them. With this is a time travel hourglass. The Algaceta will allow me to go anywhere at any time. Oh wow, that's neat. So we go into Alto Mare again? No. Only I am going. Both of you can't go. Are you sure? What? Why? Well, for starters, I think this hourglass can only transport one being at a time. Oh. Well, what about if you tried putting us in our Pokeballs and then using it? Well, I kinda can't do that. Why can't you? Well, let's just say that I don't own you two anymore. What? Are you saying that? Yes, Pidgeot. I released the both of you. What? Why? I figured that even if I fail to get my old life back, at least you two will be free. Linoon's eyes start to fill up with tears. Mike. But, no, I don't want to be wild. I want to be with you. I agree with Linoon. We have been together since the very beginning. I don't feel comfortable being a wild Pokemon. Well, you will once I get the LSRT back together. Listen, I'm sorry I can't take you two with me. I don't want to mess up the future anymore. And if you come along with me, then things might get corrupted again. Please forgive me. I suppose so. I understand why we can't come. I just wish you didn't release us, though. Me too. Well, the reason why I did is because I still think that my friend should not be caught or owned by anyone. And that also includes me. Well, okay. Well, thanks for thinking of us. I always think about my buddies. Why do you think I have been trying to get the LSRT back together this whole time? Yeah, that is true. There was a long pause. So are you going? Yes. I'm ready to go now. Please step back a little. Both of them take a couple of steps backward. Okay. Now please be quiet and don't make any noises. I need to think clearly in order to use the hourglass. Okay. I hold the hourglass in front of me in an attempt to calm down. It was actually pretty easy to do so. I closed my eyes and took deep breaths. I cleared my thoughts and mind and thought about the date of when I left Alto Mare in the past. It was quite hard to picture that exact moment, though. However, after a minute of thinking, I pictured the garden at that moment. I then flipped the hourglass over, and my vision went black. Alrighty. Oh, hello. Sorry about that. Apparently it didn't respond for a moment. Just like the first time travel experience, my head felt dizzy and I couldn't see a thing. One thing, though, was different. I could feel myself standing on the ground instead of lying down like the first time. Pardon me. My vision was slowly coming back to me, but at the moment it was incredibly blurry. As messed up as my sight was, what I saw didn't seem quite right to me. The mixture of colors I saw were mostly dark browns and grays. I knew for a fact that the garden was more like light blues and greens. This upset me slightly. I was about to think to myself, as my sight was clearing, when I was distracted by a certain voice. Oh, brother! I'm so happy you're all right! That voice was Latias's, no doubt about it. I turned to the sound of the voice. As I looked, I do notice red and blue and white blurs in my vision. Soon the blurs formed together and made one clear picture. I see that Latios is lying on the ground with scrapes on him, and with Latias rubbing her head against his. I take a look at around the area and see Lorenzo and Bianca by the Latis. On the opposite side, I saw the DMA. This wasn't the garden at all. This was the museum. What's going on? Why am I at the museum? This isn't what I was thinking about. I should be at the secret garden. Latias goes next to me and cries out in joy. Oh, Mike, we saved my brother! Oh, thank you so much! I just look at her with a confused face. Are you okay, Mike? What about the Soldew? Pardon me, I got something stuck in my throat today. Oh, goodness. Hold on a minute. I apologize. I don't know what the heck's in my throat, but I just can't really seem to get it out. Pardon me. And now back to the story. Hearing her say that made me look at the DMA. So did everybody else. There we see a black and disturbed looking gem in the holder. We also see a certain blonde-haired thief try to take it. Don't touch that! I was frozen internally. In my mind, I could not move because of the confusion that took place within it. The thief reached towards the gem and touched it. The gem completely burst and shattered into pieces with a black and purple explosion. The explosion caused Annie to be pushed back and landed at the control center of the DMA where Oakley was. The control center closed up, and the DMA started to move its parts in a random and uncontrollable way. Oh no! Wah! Oh my goodness. It wasn't until just now that I snapped out of confusion. I suddenly just re-seen what had just happened, and like a replay in my mind. My jaw dropped and my eyes widened to as large as they've ever been. My hands opened up and the hourglass was dropped. It bounced off my foot and rolled across the museum floor. My body heated up like an oven and my nervousness kicked in and rose to the highest point. Oh my god, no! 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 I'd run over to Lorenzo and grab the front of his shoulders. This shocked him greatly. Please tell me that just didn't happen. Please! Lorenzo doesn't say anything. He appeared to be too shocked for me yelling at him to speak. I walk a couple of steps to the DMA, which had now stopped and its control center still shut tight. Someone please tell me that the soldier did not just break. At this point, Latios had enough energy to levitate. He goes over to me and puts his head over near mine. I'm terribly sorry, Mike, but the soldier has broken. It is gone. There was a short pause. Ah! Having an idea of what might happen next, I jog up towards the upper balcony of the museum. The other four see me go out there and follow me to the balcony. I stand there and stare at the rest of Alto Mare. It was dark and dreadful to me, even though before I mentioned how beautiful Alto Mare was at night. Latios levitated right beside me to my right, and Latias was on my left, along with Lorenzo and Bianca. The five of us look at the city in fright. Look! The canal's water is emptying! No. The water was getting lower in the canal. All of it was retreating into the ocean. Soon the canals were completely empty. And 30 seconds later... This can't be happening. I can't believe it. Just as predicted. It's coming. There it was. The giant tidal wave. This wave was heading right towards Alto Mare with incredible force. This was exactly like the nightmares I've had before the first time travel. This to me was like a repeat of that nightmare once again, only this time is different. This was twice, or maybe even 3 times as scary as the other crisis nightmares, because this was real. This was happening in the real world. I could feel my eyes water from the scared feelings inside me. The crying almost felt as if it hurt with every time a tear was shed. Latios looks over at Latias. Sister. And she looks back at him. Yes, brother? We know what we must do. Yes, we must stop that wave. No! I lunge and grab Latios' left wings with my arms. I hold on tight. Mike, what are you doing? You can't! You can't stop that wave! I won't let you! What? Mike, I must stop that wave. If I don't, then the entire island will be destroyed. Please, let go of me. I can't. I just can't. I don't want you to lose your life. Mike, I know this may be hard for you, but I must do this. I dedicated my life to be guardian of this city. Even if it means me no longer living, I must protect the city. But I love you. I love both of you. You two are like family to me, and I tried to keep you alive. That's what I wanted. If you were to die here, now, I'd... Mike, I'm sorry. There is no other option. Neither you nor I have a choice. That wave must be stopped. Now please, let go of me. I really didn't want to let go that much. Even though I knew that tons of innocent lives were at stake, I still couldn't let go. However, in my mind, there was one exception. And I started to let go. Latios, before you and Latias go, I want you to bend down for me. Excuse me? Bend down so I can ride on you. I want to be with you when you stop the wave. Everyone grew completely shocked. What? But Mike, if you were to do that, you wouldn't survive. Why on earth would you want to do that, Mike? Because if Latios has to give up his life, then so will I. But Mike, Latias, I want to do this. I dedicate my life for you two. For you two. Now, Latios, please let me ride on you. Very well, Mike. If that is what you truly want. Here, get on my back. Latios levitates low, and I get on him and sit on his back. Are you ready? I take a deep breath. Yeah, I'm ready. Okay, you're about to fly fast, so please put your arms around my neck and hold on tight. I did exactly as Latios told me to do, and I take another deep breath. Oh, Mike, I really wish you wouldn't do this. Okay, here we go. Both Latias and Latios suddenly fly towards the wave and pick up speed. In several seconds, we are going extremely fast. Or at least it felt like it to me. I bet we were going over 100 miles an hour. But it felt as if Latios was going the fastest he could go, which was faster than a jet plane. After 10 seconds from the starting point, I felt something kick in my mind. It was my ability to reason and my train of thought. I realized what I just did, and from not taking it into good thought. Honestly, I was so upset for Latios that I had lost my ability to think clearly. Now that I have that back, I thought for a second, and when I thought of what was going to happen, I grew completely afraid. Oh my God! What am I doing? I'm going to die! I'm afraid to die! We were getting close to the wave now. I shut my eyes tightly and clung onto Latios with all my might. I guess it's now far too late to go back! We were right there. In 5 seconds, we would be at the wave. The final countdown of my life was now. 5, 4, 3, 2. Ah! I couldn't tell what was really happening the split second after we crashed through the wave. I think I let go of Latios, but I wasn't sure because my body felt numb from being so scared. I suddenly saw a bright light and then saw the night sky. I looked around and noticed that my body was rising upwards toward the sky. It was almost as if I was flying. My body just kept rising higher and higher. I felt like my soul was rising to the heaven, just like Latios. I looked at the city from Alto Mare where I was. It was very pretty to me this time. I wasn't sure why, though. I just continued to look at it as I kept rising higher. The time felt like it was going by very slowly. I felt as I've... Pardon me. Oh, I can't even... I'm very sorry about that. I keep trying to talk and whatever's in my throat keeps doing that. Anyway, time felt like it was going by very slowly. I felt as if I was in the air rising for more than a couple of minutes. Soon after, though, I noticed something wrong. Now I felt as if I was falling instead of rising. The city of Alto Mare grew bigger by the second. It appeared that I wasn't really dead at all. My body was shot up very high from Latias and Latios' psychic powers that used to stop the wave. Now I kept falling, and soon I will plummet into the ocean below. The ocean grew big quickly. I shut my eyes so I wouldn't see it coming. Splash! I don't know how to make a splash noise with my mouth. Sorry. I can't make that sound effect yet. The water was cold. I opened my eyes enough to see the water surface, but not enough to get the water in them. I tried to swim upward, but my body felt incredibly exhausted. I kept struggling with all my might, but the surface of the water only grew further and farther away. I eventually ran out of hope, and I gave up altogether.